Hey everyone! Today we're exploring another chilling and disturbing case. If you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay engaged. It really means a lot. I truly appreciate it. Now, take a deep breath and let's dive in. She thought she finally found someone who saw beyond the wrinkles, beyond the fortune, beyond the loneliness. At 69, Martha Ellison believed she was finally beginning her forever, not realizing she had just signed her death sentence. 3 days into their honeymoon, she vanished into the sea, and while her body was still missing, her husband, he was on the phone, laughing with his side chick. What she thought was a honeymoon was actually a countdown to her murder. Martha was the type of woman people called elegant, classy, and old money. A self-made millionaire in Florida real estate, she'd built an empire with her late husband. After he passed, Martha spent the next 10 years alone, quietly grieving and pouring her life into charity work. At 69, she wasn't looking for love, but love came looking for her. Or so she thought. Jaden Ross was 30, ripped, charming, and full of dangerous charisma. A personal trainer and small-time influencer with a taste for fast cars and faster women. He met Martha on an elite dating app that catered to older, wealthy singles. He called her his queen, said she gave him peace. But behind every sweet word was calculated manipulation. He wasn't after love. He was after legacy. Hers. Just months into their whirlwind romance, Jaden started making suggestions. You should really get that life insurance updated. He'd say sweetly, I just want to know you'll be protected. Martha, flattered and smitten, rewrote her policy, naming Jaden as her sole beneficiary. A $2.3 million payout. No questions asked. That document sealed her fate. Their wedding was a modest beachfront ceremony in St. Lucia. Private, classy, just 12 guests. Martha wore a flowing cream dress. Jaden wore a perfect smile. 3 days later, while aboard a luxury yacht, tragedy struck, according to Jaden. He told investigators Martha slipped overboard during a romantic evening on the deck. Said the wind was strong, the water unforgiving. Claimed he tried to save her. But when the yacht's captain reviewed the security system, the footage had mysteriously cut out for exactly 20 minutes, right around the time Martha went missing. Back in Florida, Martha's niece, Claire, wasn't buying it. She'd never trusted Jaden. Too smooth, too perfect. She knew her aunt had changed her insurance policy and that Jaden had everything to gain from her death. Claire went to the authorities. The investigation widened. That's when red flags turned into evidence. Jaden had searched. How long does it take to drown? Can a body disappear at sea? When does life insurance pay for accidental death? And hours after Martha's death, he wasn't calling the Coast Guard again. He was on FaceTime with a 25-year-old woman in Miami. Her name was Kayla Monroe. Kayla wasn't just a fling. She was the co-architect of the entire plan. Screenshots revealed a series of texts months before the wedding. Once the old bag's gone, we're out. Just you and me. Money bag. St. Lucia will be the last time she ever sees you. But here's where things spiral. Kayla disappeared 2 weeks after the investigation started. Gone without a trace. Some say she's hiding in Bali. Others say she's dead. But authorities now believe this wasn't just murder for money. It may have been part of something much bigger. Because while digging into Jaden's past, police uncovered something chilling. Martha Ellison wasn't his first older girlfriend. She may not have even been the first one to die accidentally. There was another woman, another suspicious death, another policy. Diane Cummings was a 62-year-old retired art professor from Charleston, South Carolina. Classy, reclusive, and known for her collection of rare sculptures, Diane lived a quiet life until she met Jay on an online art forum. Jay claimed to be a traveling fitness coach who admired her intellect and soul. He sent flowers. He quoted poetry. Within 3 months, he moved in. That was 5 years ago. And within 6 months of meeting him, Diane was dead. At the time, Diane's death was ruled an accident. She'd apparently fallen down a steep flight of stairs in her home, while home alone. Jaden, then using a different last name, told police they had wine and she lost her balance. There were no signs of forced entry or foul play. Case closed. Wouldn't make headlines. Diane had just updated her $900,000 life insurance policy to make Jay her sole beneficiary. Only 2 weeks before her death, he cashed it, moved to Florida, changed his name. That's where he met Martha. After Martha's niece tipped off investigators, they reopened Diane's case. When detectives dug into Jaden's background, they found a trail of aliases, fake businesses, and luxury purchases made with Diane's money. Even more disturbing, they found Kayla Monroe, the same side chick from Martha's case, had been in contact with Jaden during his relationship with Diane. In a recovered email, Kayla joked, "You better make sure she's not clumsy with those stairs again, winking face." That line wasn't a joke anymore. During a search of Jaden's Miami condo, authorities recovered a laptop. What was inside stunned everyone. Dozens of folders labeled with women's names. Fake dating profiles used to target older women. Voice memos where Jaden practiced grief speeches. Even a spreadsheet titled, "Retirement Plan Martha Diane Evelyn." Who was Evelyn? No one knew yet. Then came the twist no one expected. Kayla Monroe was found after weeks in hiding. She resurfaced in Panama, caught trying to use a fake passport. She was extradited to the U.S. and struck a plea deal in exchange for testimony. Her confession stunned the courtroom. She admitted she and Jaden had scouted vulnerable women, coached each other on manipulation tactics, and even discussed using drugs to disorient victims before staging accidents. But she denied ever pushing anyone. "I never killed anyone," she said, "but I helped him find the perfect ones, and he always knew how to make it look like an accident." Authorities now believe Jaden may have targeted at least 4 women, possibly more. And that name found in the laptop? Evelyn Prescott, a widowed 71-year-old philanthropist who disappeared while hiking in Arizona just 1 year before Martha's death. Guess who was with her on that trip? A personal trainer named Jay Randall. Evelyn Prescott was a 71-year-old widow from Sedona, Arizona, a retired pediatric surgeon and philanthropist. Evelyn was known for a sharp wit and iron will. After losing her husband to a heart attack, she spent years alone until she met Jay Randall on a high-end travel companion website. Jay was younger, charming, and emotionally mature, as she described him. He told her he was a former Marine turned life coach. She believed him. 6 months after they met, they planned a luxury couple's hiking retreat, just the two of them, in the Red Canyons of Arizona. Evelyn never made it back. According to Jay, Evelyn got tired during the hike and told him to go ahead while she rested on a ridge. When he returned, she was gone. No screams, no struggle, just gone. Rescue teams searched for 5 days. Helicopters, dogs, rangers, nothing. Jay sobbed on camera, told reporters he was devastated, but he refused to take a polygraph and left town just days after the search was called off. And the most suspicious detail? He didn't contact her family for 3 whole days. But 2 weeks after Evelyn was declared missing, Jay, now confirmed to be Jaden Ross, filed a claim as the beneficiary of her $1.8 million life insurance policy, which Evelyn had updated just 3 weeks prior. Now, investigators, already building a case around Martha and Diane, realized their deal with serial manipulator and suspected murderer who uses love as a weapon and life insurance as a motive. Detectives reopened Evelyn's case. A forensic search of her emails shows a chilling trend. Jaden, again using a fake name, coached Evelyn into changing her will. He told her he wanted to build a spiritual healing retreat center for trauma victims in her honor. He even sent her a draft proposal. It was all a lie. Kayla Monroe, now in custody and cooperating, confirms Evelyn was another planned target. She claims Jaden called Evelyn easy money, said she had no kids, no one who questioned things. And most disturbingly, Kayla tells detectives, he said if the fall doesn't kill her, the desert would. But there's more. In one text message found in Kayla's old phone, dated 2 days before Evelyn's hike, Jaden wrote, "This will be the last one. Promise." It wasn't goodbye. It was a chilling prophecy. 1 year after Evelyn vanished, a local hiker in Arizona stumbled across a weather-worn hiking boot and a silver necklace buried beneath rocks in a remote canyon crevice. The necklace? engraved with Evelyn's initials. Nearby, a GoPro camera, cracked but intact. Police recovered the footage. What it shows hasn't been publicly released, but sources say the final frame captures Evelyn standing on the canyon edge with someone behind her, and in the reflection of her sunglasses, detectives say they see a man, smiling. As prosecutors build a case to charge Jaden Ross with 3 counts of first-degree murder, a new name appears in his hidden email account, a name linked to another suspicious death, a woman who died in her bathtub, a woman who once again left everything to Jaden. Linda Carlisle was a 61-year-old retired interior designer from Austin, Texas. Smart, stylish, and fiercely independent. After her children moved abroad, Linda began dating again. That's when she met Jason Roy, a charismatic wellness coach who promised her a second youth. They fell fast. Within 4 months, they were married in a quiet backyard ceremony. Only a handful of friends were invited. Her adult children barely knew about it. 3 weeks later, Linda was dead. It was a quiet Sunday morning. Jaden, again using a new alias, told 911 operators he found his wife unresponsive in the tub. Claimed she'd slipped while he was out walking the dog. Paramedics arrived to find Linda submerged in cold water. There were no signs of forced entry. Her head had a bruise. The bathroom was spotless. The cause of death? Drowning, ruled accidental. But her daughter, Melissa, didn't buy it. Linda had always hated baths, only took showers. She was also afraid of slipping, ever since her own sister had a fall. Why would she suddenly decide to soak in a full tub alone with no mat 2 days after the funeral? Jaden filed claims to collect over $2.9 million in life insurance payouts and property inheritance. Linda had just updated her documents to list her new husband as the primary heir, removing her children in the process. A lawyer later revealed that Jaden had personally delivered the documents and insisted Linda sign them before their honeymoon. He also liquidated her jewelry and car just 1 week later. But it was a random internet search that cracked things wide open. Melissa, Linda's daughter, had a bad feeling. She Googled Jason Roy plus death and found something that made her blood run cold: his face. In a news article connected to Martha Ellison's murder case. Except in that case, he was called Jaden Ross. Detectives uncovered a trail of fake names, forged IDs, burner phones, and online dating profiles, all tied to one man, one method, one motive. Jaden Ross had become a human chameleon. He used charm to infiltrate lives. He used marriage to secure access. Then he used death to cash in. In all 4 cases, Martha, Diane, Evelyn, and now Linda, he had fast-tracked romance, gained trust, convinced them to change their life insurance, then staged a sudden accident. Linda's autopsy, which was re-examined, showed one key overlooked detail: a small crescent-shaped bruise on her neck, an injury inconsistent with a fall, but consistent with someone being held underwater. When FBI agents obtained a court order to search Jaden's encrypted cloud backup, they made a horrifying discovery: a personal journal, dozens of voice notes, and one document titled Exit Strategy, Final 5 Targets, 5 Names, for now confirmed dead, 1 still alive. Her name was Catherine Lowry, a wealthy 65-year-old widow from Napa Valley. And according to Kayla Monroe, Jaden's now jailed mistress, he was already planning their wedding. Now the race is on. Authorities believe Catherine could be next, but she's not answering her phone, not responding to emails, and her family hasn't heard from her in days. They were supposed to fly to Paris together last Friday, but the plane left, and Catherine never arrived. Catherine Lowry was a 65-year-old vineyard heiress from Napa Valley. Widowed, wealthy, and widely respected for her philanthropy, she had no children and very few close relatives. She lived a quiet life until she met Julian Rhodes. He was cultured, soft-spoken, and said all the right things. Claimed he was a wine consultant with deep spiritual values. They met at a high-end matchmaking retreat in Sonoma. Within 6 months, they were engaged. Paris was the destination wedding. The honeymoon was to last 2 months. But just 4 days before their departure, Catherine disappeared. Her assistant, Monica, became alarmed when Catherine stopped responding to messages. Her passport, packed luggage, and wedding gown were gone, but her phone and laptop were left behind. When Monica contacted Julian, he claimed Catherine was already in Paris and had simply gone off-grid to detox before the big day. But flight records showed she never left California. In fact, she never even got on a plane. Her last known location? A private estate in the hills, owned by Julian, who, investigators now know, is actually Jaden Ross, the same man connected to 4 mysterious deaths and $8 million in life insurance payouts. By the time detectives tracked down Jaden's estate, he was gone. Security footage showed him leaving the property in Catherine's luxury SUV, alone. Inside the estate, police found a makeshift office with stacks of Catherine's legal documents, including an updated will and a new life insurance policy listing Jaden as the sole beneficiary. The day it was signed, just 3 days before she vanished. But the most terrifying discovery was a handwritten checklist on the desk. Move funds, white heavy checkmark. Finalize paperwork, white heavy checkmark. Clean the house, crossmark. Paris, one-way flight, white heavy checkmark. As forensic techs combed through Catherine's laptop, they found recorded video files saved on her desktop, time-stamped 2 days before her disappearance. The title? If Anything Happens to Me. In the video, Catherine stares into the camera, visibly nervous. If you're watching this, something's gone wrong. I know this may sound crazy, but I've started to suspect Julian isn't who he says he is. There have been strange calls missing money, and he's rushing everything, especially the will. If anything happens to me, please look into him. She never sent the video, but now it's evidence in an ongoing murder investigation. A multi-state manhunt is now underway. Jaden Ross, a.k.a. Julian Rhodes, Jason Roy, J. Randall, is officially wanted for the suspected murder of Catherine Lowry, in addition to 4 previous deaths linked to financial gain and life insurance fraud. His face is plastered across FBI bulletins. Interpol has been notified, and Kayla Monroe, his ex-mistress turned informant, tells police he's not going to stop until he disappears completely. But if Catherine's gone, this is the one that'll bury him. But here's the twist. A neighbor's security camera may have captured everything. Just 1 day after Catherine vanished, a nearby vineyard owner reviewed footage from his outdoor security system. What it showed left investigators frozen. A woman matching Catherine's description, being led into the woods behind the estate. And behind her, a man in gloves, holding a shovel. After recovering the chilling security footage, investigators descended on the private vineyard estate once owned by Julian Rhodes, now confirmed to be Jaden Ross, a suspected serial killer who used love as a weapon. With a search warrant in hand, cadaver dogs were brought to the scene. Within 90 minutes, the dogs zeroed in on a small, freshly disturbed patch of soil beneath a row of grapevines. At just 2 feet deep, investigators uncovered a tarp. Inside it, a woman's body. The remains were quickly identified as Catherine Lowry, the woman who thought she was days away from marrying her dream man. She was found fully clothed, wearing the same outfit seen in the footage. There were no signs of trauma, but toxicology would later reveal a lethal dose of sedatives in her system. Slipped into her wine just hours before she vanished. She never left for Paris. She never even made it out of that estate alive. This wasn't just a single murder. This was the final act in a pattern that stretched nearly a decade. With Catherine's body recovered, investigators now had enough to formally charge Jaden Ross with 5 counts of first-degree murder, fraud, and conspiracy to commit homicide. Each victim shared a profile. Wealthy, over 60, no children or a strange family, recently in love, recently insured, and in every case, the sole beneficiary was Jaden Ross. But there was still one problem. Jaden was gone. Despite being added to the FBI's most wanted list and flagged by Interpol, Jaden managed to slip across the Mexican border using a forged identity. Surveillance showed him at a bus terminal in Tijuana, carrying only a duffel bag and fake documents. Authorities believe he may have used crypto and offshore accounts to fund his escape. But the most disturbing detail? Inside the duffel bag left behind at his vineyard property, police found a notebook. Inside, addresses, photos of 2 new women, handwritten notes about approach angles, hobbies, insurance companies, and marriage timelines. One of them was a widow in New Zealand. The other, a woman from Atlanta. The cycle wasn't just ending, it was about to begin again. As the international manhunt intensifies, and the media dubs him the Black Widow Groom, one question remains. Where's Jaden Ross now? Because just this morning, a woman in Atlanta filed a police report. She claims a man she was dating vanished overnight. He called himself James, said he was a widower, said he was falling in love. And her life insurance policy? She just changed it last week. He stole millions, left 5 women dead, and nearly vanished into the shadows again. But what he didn't know was that the 6th woman had already started to suspect something, and her call to police would bring down the most cold-blooded love predator the FBI had ever seen. Her name is Veronica Green, a 63-year-old widowed art gallery owner from Atlanta. She met a man named James Holloway on a travel companion website. Kind, gentle, seemed almost too perfect. Within weeks, they were inseparable. Within 2 months, he proposed. She said yes. But Veronica had watched the news. She'd seen the headlines. Black Widow Groom still at large. The sketch looked familiar. Too familiar. And then she found something chilling in his overnight bag. A passport. Different name. Different country. She didn't wait. She called the FBI. Veronica agreed to help set a trap. She invited James over for dinner, like nothing had changed. Agents were waiting down the street. He kissed her on the cheek, sat down to eat. The moment he reached for his wine glass, agents swarmed. Jaden Ross was arrested without incident. No weapons, no fight, just a quiet, bitter smile. In his pocket, a folded brochure for life insurance, and a handwritten note. Propose on Friday. Move funds by Monday. Jaden's trial became one of the most sensational in American true crime history. 5 victims, 5 insurance payouts, millions stolen, lives destroyed. Catherine, Linda, Evelyn, Diane, Martha, each woman's photo displayed in court, each with nearly identical love letters, all written by him. Prosecutors called it a campaign of calculated emotional terrorism. Kayla Monroe, his former mistress, testified in exchange for a reduced sentence. Her words stunned the courtroom. He called them his investments, not girlfriends, not wives, just opportunities. After a 6-week trial, the jury deliberated for just 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. 5 counts of first-degree murder, 5 counts of insurance fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In the courtroom, families wept. Veronica Green, the woman who helped take him down, held the hands of the other victims' relatives. She was the one who lived, because she trusted her gut just in time. Jaden Ross is now locked away in a federal maximum security facility. His crime shook the world and exposed a chilling truth. Love can be the perfect weapon in the hands of a killer. He didn't use guns. He didn't use knives. He used charm and turned vulnerability into a death sentence. But in the end, one mistake cost him everything. He underestimated a woman who paid attention. If someone you know is rushing love, isolating you, or pushing for financial control, pay attention, because not all killers break into your home. Some walk right to the front door with a ring in one hand and a plan in the other. What are your thoughts on this case? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more stories, where each case isn't just about crime, but also offers a lesson for life.